Hello, I'm Regina Botras, and this is Backstage, where we talk with the who's who on stage, in dance, comedy and performing arts, speaking with the leading theatre makers of our times and how they came to the stage and what drives them and inspires them. We're heading to the old Fitz. Fitz Happens is happening at the moment, a new initiative led by New Ghost Theatre Company to launch and raise funds for a new Playwright Fund. And I am joined by the director who has taken on this, 5 monologues, bringing them to the stage with only a 6-day rehearsal. You got loads of great playwrights who have donated their work and their time. I'm talking with Mehhma Malhi, who is a director. She's been to NIDA, but she's also returned to Sydney from New York with experience in philosophy, bioethics and journalism, with a Bachelor in Philosophy and Politics from New York University and a Master of Science in Bioethics from Columbia University. Look, I'm wondering how all these inform her as a director. She's got a director cap on. She's come out of the rehearsal room to have a quick chat with me about this new idea that's happening alongside the old Fitz usual running. Hi, Mehhma.
Hi, that is the most beautiful introduction. Thank you so much.
Look, it is my pleasure, and I'm flabbergasted by all that you have done already and what you're doing now. So how did it come about?
Yeah, so kind of a couple of months ago, Lucy and Emma kind of rang me up for a chat, and they said that they are looking to start this Playwright Fund, which really looks to kind of support playwrights among Australia and really foster new voices. And the one thing that playwrights don't really have is time or space or support to generate and redo drafts of work. And so Lucy and Emma kind of said, we want to be a place that actually fosters writers having time. And I completely backed that idea, and having mainly worked with writers for new work and directing predominantly new work, I think doing drafts of work and having time to actually iterate is incredibly important. So they kind of came to me with the idea, and I was incredibly on board for the challenge and the as you mentioned, the pace of getting this all together. And there's a wonderful team, and obviously the playwrights and actors are just astounding. So it was, from my side, absolutely a no-brainer to join.
So what is the theme? There's a united theme across these monologues. So a whole lot of playwrights were given a provocation, I suppose, and to respond to. What was that?
So the provocation they were all given is home is where the haunt is. So given it's Halloween here at the Fitz and everywhere else, Lucy and Emma thought it would be great to lean into the Halloween theme, but also kind of home is where the haunt is, kind of bring something exciting and homely and warm, and lean into the theme of Halloween, October.
Okay, so whose work have you got?
So we're staging the works of Louis Nowra, Melanie Tate, Mary Rachel Brown, Kate Mulvany, and Nicholas Brown. And
how do they all work together? I'm imagining, you've already said, and I've said they're monologues, so you've got one voice at a time. Is there a connection to the theme? Is there something that's come out, or are you connecting them, or do they just sort of stand alone in the world?
Yeah, I think what Emma and Lucy did by giving them all kind of this one phrase and letting them all go away individually, I think I kind of initially expected them all to be really different. And the beautiful thing is, in terms of how they tell the stories, they're incredibly different. The characters that they bring to the stage are new and fresh and completely distinct. But funnily enough, I think the themes that they explore are very similar. And that's really beautiful. So I think thematically all the pieces link together really nicely in the fact they touch on life and death and what it means to have a home and what it means to feel safe in a space. And I think that's really beautiful. But I love the fact that they're all kind of these amazingly distinct characters. And I think it speaks to what amazing writing is.
Do you get a sense of the person who's writing it? In that, is there some kind of, I don't know, Kate Mulvany and her experience of home, very different to Nick Brown, for example. Is that coming through in their stories, or are they completely fiction?
Yeah, I think a lot of them are completely fiction. And I think the beauty of Halloween as kind of an overarching umbrella is it means you really get to push the envelope in a fun and exciting way that perhaps you wouldn't otherwise get to do. So I do think they really do lean into the fiction, but all the writers have left such a beautiful amount of space, I think, for audience to find themselves within the pieces.
And how are you going with your, I mean, you've stepped out of the rehearsal room. This is Monday, so when we're listening, it'll be already up, but where are you now and how is it working within this strict time frame?
Yeah, I think having a time frame is always a challenge, but also it's incredibly exciting. I think like when you have parameters for something, you're really able to test and push yourself. And the team that is supporting this is absolutely incredible. And, you know, everyone is donating their time to put this project up so that all the funds can go fully to the Playwright Fund. And I think it's just a really beautiful showcase of community. We've got Sasha, Justin, Izzy, another Izzy, Veronica, you know, all these amazing people dedicating their time. Ruby, Andrea, like it's such an incredible, beautiful team. We're currently in the process of tech, so just putting up all the lights. And yeah, it's looking really beautiful. And it's also just so fun to do something with a strict budget and strict timeline. It really makes you push how you create.
Sometimes, yeah, having boundaries really kind of it can be like informative or something. You work against something rather than it can bring out things in a surprising way. Are you using a set? Are there things like that in costume?
Yeah, so we're leaning heavily into costume as a way to define the different monologues, and each of the characters kind of bring their scene onto stage with the costume. In terms of set, and we're leaning heavily into lighting to inform the set, because we are, as on one hand, it's quite a strict kind of budget, which is really exciting. But then on the other hand, there are also all these beautiful theater rules about having a ghost in your theater and all the kind of, you know, mythology that comes around theater ghosts. And so we're really leaning into that and wanting to create something special that links solely to the Fitz and the new ghost company. And so really leaning into that. But also the reason we've decided to kind of keep the rest of the elements simple is so that we can really highlight the playwriting itself.
What are those myths or what is the ghost in the theatre? I mean, I know there's the play, there's Shakespeare play you can't mention in the theatre, but what else?
Yeah, so you're kind of always meant to leave one light on for the ghost so that they can see what they're doing at night. You're always meant to leave a seat clear for the ghost so that they can watch the shows in freedom. And you're meant to, one night a week, you're meant to leave the theater completely empty, but set up so that the ghost can perform their own show. And that's kind of what we're leaning into for this, is we're inviting everyone in for the one ghost show.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love that. How fantastic. So can you tell me just one of the stories, like give us a little taste of what might happen or what we might see?
Yeah, so I think, you know, all the characters are incredibly different. We've got a death clown that graces the stage, a disgraced death clown that maybe hasn't ended up exactly where he wants to be or in the place he wants to be. We've got someone who's died too early and ended up as a ghost, but ghosted their one true love. And they kind of talk about that yearning that lives on. We've got someone who maybe didn't appreciate the love that existed in front of them when they were alive. So, you know, there are all these kind of beautiful, distinct characters. And I think, you know, initially when I read the scripts, I was expecting them to be horrifyingly scary, and they do delve into that. But I think they've got a lot of heart and they really speak to themes that are so universal around love.
Terrific. Well, look, I better let you get back into that tech room and that tech space. I can't wait to see it. Perfect timing for Halloween, and we get to be the ghost in the theatre. Thank you so much for joining me, Mehhma.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your kind words and your time.
Mehhma Malhi there, the director of Fitz Happens, until the 1st of November. Sounds spooky.